So Alwyn, how would we determine where to top a tree?
Yeah, I think each orchard differs from each other, and the spacing of the tree will determine where you cut it. According to literature and studies, the guys say 80% of your row width. This is a 7-meter spacing, so that would mean 5.5 to 6 meters is where you would top this. But they do differ because we removed the tree on the 3-meter spacing. Now it's a 6 meter between the trees. There's more light coming in. And you see this pole is actually 7 meter high. So I would have cut it, according to literature, much lower than that. And if I cut it lower than that, there's not enough tree and leaf left to give me an optimum high yield on this orchard. So we are getting between 4 and 5 ton annually on this orchard. It's one of the higher producing orchards we've got. And I would put it down to there's enough leaf area per tree to actually make that crop. So I like on this tree to have a little bit of a higher top because I have sunlight all around this tree. And then the way we cut the top is where I think a lot of growers miss the point. You never want to tabletop your top. You want to do it in sections, and I like a top that's open and there's some air and sunlight coming into it. So when I stand at the tree and I can look into the top, I would like to see some blue sky behind it. You can see this tree is actually top. This is a 7-meter pole, and the farmer made a cut roughly on the second leader there. He took off one of the main stems at 5.5 meters, I would say, 5.5, 6 meters. He left a decent, big enough branch that go from that cut, go up, that can actually replace the previous leader on that cut. And then the second, because this is Beaumont, nobody actually have central leaders, there's multiple leaders. The other leader, he actually left as a top, you can see. So next year we'll actually cut that one at that same height that we cut the previous one, but the previous year's one we left will then actually become the main leader. So you have to do topping bit by bit, and you cannot do it in 1 year. You have to cut one, leave the other one. Then you leave where there's some regrowth there, remove some of the thick regrowth that will be there, but you leave something that can grow. Then you bring back the other leader, and that one will then become dominant again. So it's like up and down, up and down. It's not a 1 year tabletop and everything go vegetative. There's a difference between, I like on topping, there's always enough leaf that you leave there that can actually, and branches that can actually bear for you, and you don't have a tabletop with no nuts and just regrowth.
So this tree is never going to have a single leader?
I assume not, because it's from the bottom, it actually have 2 to 3 main leaders going up, and we're always going to prune one, and we're going to leave the other one to be the leader at that stage. So, and there will be regrowth from the one that you cut as well that you're going to leave to take over from the previous one again, from the next one.
And so if you were to prune this tree from very young,
yes,
would you have had a single leader? Is this the case? Because
yeah,
it happened a bit later or not necessarily?
It's a little bit, there's different views on that. I like to have a single leader. It's difficult to prune it to a single leader, and cultivars differ. This is Beaumont. Beaumont, you can have a single leader. 816 and other cultivars that have a different growth type, you struggle to get a central leader. They're more upright trees and so on. A Beaumont, you can have a central leader, but if they have 2 or 3 leaders, it's not a problem. We can manage it. The only problem I have with multiple leaders that go straight up on Beaumont and SAMAC 2 and maybe A4 is that when they are young, they make a V And sometimes the wind actually tears it there and it breaks off and you lose half your tree and sometimes your whole tree because of the wind breakages. So a central leader gives you that advantage that there's less wind break on that tree than multiple leaders when it's a younger tree, yes. Sometimes you don't want to top the tree, but you only want to thin the top. To determine that, you actually look at the canopy, try and see, or you can see the blue sky behind it. If you cannot see blue sky behind it, it's too dense and too thick, and then you can only remove some of the branches going upwards in that top. So don't cut the top off if it's not necessary, if your height is not too high. Rather thin out the top and still pick a lot of nuts off that top, because it's actually in the sun where we'll get enough sunlight and wind flow. So just uplift the density in your top.